to work on the log out feature right now, which would clicking on the log out button on the profile page will then redirect you to the login page and show some sort of toast. Okay, so first let's look at our user stories. So users can log out. All right, we have a log out button existing on the profile page, so we first need to create a profile page with a loader function that gets the user's name, username, email, password, and photo. Okay, we then need to create a log out button, and we need to create an on-click function that removes the JWT from local storage, clears the current user's data on the front end, and then redirects the user to the login page, and then we will have a successful toast. Okay, we can do this. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and we are going to start on the front end. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create a page for our profile. So we can go ahead and for in pages, we're going to create a file and it's going to be profile.tsx. All right, so const profile. We're just gonna put some demo profile page text in there, so that way we can check that everything is working properly, and then we need to export it so we can use it in our router. All right, so now we're going to go to our index.tsx page, and we are going to add another route, and we're going to add it for profile, and that is going to load the profile page component. All right, so now let's go ahead and check it. And if we go to /profile, we see our profile page. Perfect. All right, but we need a loader function on our profile page. Okay, so let's go ahead and look up at the dots. We're going to do React router loader function. All right, loader. Okay, so within our path here, right, we are going to, so here is our element, they're loading team for the path team ID, and then they are loading information, I'm assuming, about the team. Okay, so we can go on and we can add loader async. We don't need any params, and I will show you why in a second. And we are going to do, first I'm gonna just, well, we can leave that async, but first I'm just gonna console log loader function, and I'm gonna see what happens. So let's do return loader. Okay. So when you have a loader function, whatever returns to the function will get passed in the sense that we can then use, looking for the right thing. Well, I'm not seeing it pop up here, but you can use loader data, the use loader. So we're going to say const data is equal to use loader data from React router DOM. And then we can go ahead and console.log loader data and data. So basically what's happening is we are going to call this function when I load the page, okay? In order for the page to load correctly, all right, we need to have a successful response from this loader. So returning the word loader is a successful response, okay? Just needs to not err. If it returns a successful response, then it will return whatever you returned to the used loader hook, which you can then use on whatever component that loads to get your data, okay? So that is how I get data loaded into my front end from the back end on a new page. So what I would want to do is I would want to be able to call my back end and get all my user data about whatever user is logged in, okay, if they're logged in and they have a correct token, all right? So the way we are going to do that then is the following. We are going to first get a token from local storage, okay? Then we're going to say if we have a token, we'll use it as a bearer token on our request for user data. If we do not have a token, we will show an error toast and redirect the user to the sign up page. Okay, so the idea is if you have a token saved in your local storage, okay, that token being saved in your local storage means at some point you signed up and you were using the site. You were logged in at some point, okay? Then if you don't have a token, right, we can't assume that you've ever signed in before or have an account because we don't know who you are, right? So if you have no token in your local storage, then you'll be redirected to the sign up page, okay? If you have an expired token, we will show an error toast and redirect the user to the login page. So the token that we have only lasts for 60 seconds right now, right? So if I'm logged in, it's going to save a token on my front end, but within 60 seconds, that token's no longer going to work, okay? So if we don't extend that, then every 60 seconds, they would have to re-log in, all right? So if the token does not work, meaning that we catch an error from the back end, right? Because if the token's expired, then on the back end, that auth guard will kick us out, okay? Then we'll go to catch the error, and then we can show an error toast saying your token was expired and send you back to the login page. But because they had a token, that meant that they should be able to be logged in. Hopefully that logic makes sense, okay? So we are going to give this a try now, okay? So to get the token from local storage, we will say const token is equal to local storage dot get item, and we're looking for the item token, okay? Then we're going to check if the token exists. If the token exists, then we are going to await. Let's do const response is equal to await axios.get. Then let's go ahead and look on our back end. I'm going to actually look on my postman here. All right, and here is what we want. So I'm going to get, right, user details, okay? And I am then going to, with that request, I am going to add my token to the headers. The way I do that is an object for headers, and then within that an object with an authorization property, and then I'm going to set that equal to bearer, and then I'm going to put the token in, okay? I'm going to import Axios here and save, okay? So if there's a token, I'm going to call Axios with that token in my authorization header, all right? And I am going to see what the response is, okay? If I have a response, right, that means if I have a successful response and if it didn't error, that means my token was good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to return response.data, all right? Because I just want my user data. So this response, if I have the correct token, if the token exists and I don't error, that's what this portion of the code is, right? Then my user data is going to be returned to me in the data field of the response object, okay? But, all right, I could also error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a try block with a catch block, okay? Another way that we could do this is by not using a wait, and we could just do the axios.get and then do .then and so on, okay? But I'm going to use a try block instead. Okay. So I'm going to try that, and if that doesn't work, then I'm going to catch an error. All right, and then I'm going to console log my error. All right, but we still need to return something, okay? So what I'm going to return instead is, well, you know what? I'm gonna let it error and then we'll go from there, okay? So we should error on our first try because our JWT is expired, right? So I should load, okay? And the issue is I'm here returning loader, which we don't want to. We don't want to return anything. Okay, so see, we errored. All right, so then here's counseling our error. Response, data, unauthorized. And that's exactly what we want to see. We do not have a valid token, okay? So we are not allowed to access a user profile, okay? So I'm going to use my auth sign up here. Well, I'm just going to log in because, okay. So I'm going to log in for Mickey Mouse. All right, so now we should have a valid token for the next 60 seconds. So if I go to /profile, I can successfully get the profile page, and you'll see the loader data is what we're returning from that /user details, okay? If I wait 60 seconds and refresh the page, it will then error, all right? So let's go ahead and add the rest of our logic, okay? So this catch block is if we have an expired token. So let me move this. Okay. So if we have an expired token, we want to show our toast. All right. But we are going to have a problem because our chakra provider is within our app and our index file precedes the app, okay? So we are likely going to need to move our chakra provider to our index. All right, let's give that a try. Well, okay, I'm actually not going to move it yet, and I'm going to just see what errors I get. Okay. So I am going to want to return with a redirect, and I'm going to want to show an error. All right, so let's go to my toast here, and we are going to show a toast and see if we're able to. I don't think we're going to be able to, but might as well check. Before we start moving things around. I don't even know if we can do this, but we are going to see. Yeah, I don't think it doesn't like that. Okay. We can't be called at the top level. React hooks must be called in a React function or component or a custom React hooks function. All right, I am not in the mood to debug this right now, so we are going to ignore our toast and we're going to fix that in a future video, okay? But we will try the return redirect. All right. So the way with React Router that you redirect is you're still going to return, because you always have to return something, but we're going to return redirect from React Router DOM. And we are going to return to the login page. Okay? And perfect, it worked. So if I go here and I type in profile, enter, it's going to redirect me. First, it's going to show me my error. Okay? Unauthorized, and it's going to redirect me to login. But I can then log in. Yay me. And then I can go and try again. And now I'll be able to use it. Perfect. Okay, so we'll have to note that we need to fix our toasts, but that is good the way we have it. All right, also good, also good. Okay, so now the last piece of the puzzle is if we have no token. So we're doing else block here, and we're just going to, let's do a console log as our fake toast until we can get our toast fixed, and then we can say return redirect. And we are going to redirect to the sign up page. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete our token. All right. And yep, we move to our sign up page. And if we look at our console, we see that we have an error, no token. All right. So this is going to ask us to sign up. Technically, we do already have an account, so I'm going to log in instead, and I'm going to do my Mickey Mouse and my password, and I got redirected to my projects page. Perfect. So let's try to get to my profile page, and there we are, profile page with our loader data. Unfortunately, though, this loader data is not correct, okay? We actually want to go and get all of the data that we have about Mickey Mouse, which right now is pretty much that, but let's go ahead and look into that, okay? So we're gonna go over to the backend, and we're gonna look at get user details. I feel like it's named a little bit poorly because we're calling the route on the front end profile, so I'm gonna switch it to profile, which means that I then need to switch this to profile too. But I want to do that because once I get too many routes, it's going to be a little bit confusing. Okay. And then I am going to, so I'm getting the user, let's call it get profile data. Okay. So if rec user, so we're going to have rec user regardless because it's coming through the auth guard. Okay. So instead, we're going to say return this.authService.get profile data, and then we are going to pass in rec.user.username. Okay, it's a red squiggly line because our service file does not have that function yet, but we are going to add it. So we do async get, what is it called? Get profile data. And then we're going to be passing in a username. And then we're going to return await this dot user service dot find user by username. And then we're going to pass in the username. All right. Oh, and I spelled data wrong. Okay, and then username is going to be a string. Perfect. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and console log my username here because we did just do a lot of logic at once, but that way we can make sure the right username is coming through, okay? So it looks like we've already expired, so I'm also going to change that briefly in my auth module. Let's change this to 90 seconds, so we have a little bit more time. All right, so I'm gonna log in with Mickey Mouse, test. All right, and then I'm going to switch this to profile. All right, we are on our profile page and our loader data is email, ID, name, password, username. Okay, so we are likely going to want to not send the password back. It's not necessary and it could be a potential security issue. So instead of return await, we're going to do const user equals, and then we're going to return an object with user dot email, user dot name, and user dot username. And then we are going to call this email, name, and username. All right, let's try again. All right, perfect. So now we have our email, name, and username. Perfect. And once we start building out the rest of applications where Mickey Mouse will create a project and then create their features and user stories and tasks, that's what's all going to come in here as well, okay? Well, if we wanted to. It could also, we could just do on the projects page, right? We'll have a loader data function on that too that will then go get all of the data that's associated with the Mickey's projects, okay? But this is, loader functions are kind of how I like to get data into my application. All right, so let's go to our user story and see where we're at. All right, we created a profile page with a loader function that gets the user's name, email address, username, well, we don't want password, and photo, okay? I'm gonna say yes, we don't have the photo yet, but we'll add that later. And now let's go ahead and create a logout button. So I don't necessarily want to do all of the CSS and stuff here to create all of the account details. So I'm just gonna create the account detail header here and then a logout button. And next feature is when we're gonna kind of flesh out this page. All right, so that is enough on the back end. Let's go ahead to our, I'm gonna go to the login page to kind of get my structure set up. Then I'm going to throw it in here. All right, and we need to import text. It never likes when I try text. All right. And we want to do account details. All right, let's take a look at our profile page now, which will probably kick us out. Of course, let's sign back in. Future feature could be also trying to make sure you sign, when you sign in, it brings you back to the correct area. Okay, so now we're on our accounts details page. That is good. And we are going to add a button. And we're going to have it say log out. All right, looks good enough. Maybe I'm going to, no, I'm not going to style it right now, Callie, calm yourself. All right, so we're gonna have a log out button. Let's go ahead and look, we did create a log out button. Now we wanna create an on-click function that removes the JWT from local storage, okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to do, I guess we can leave that const login. We can say const on click is equal to, all right. And we are going to go ahead and work on the removing it from local storage. Okay, so let's go ahead and look that up. So local storage remove item. So yep, looks like we can just remove the item like this. So we're going to do local storage dot remove item token. All right, the reason why we are going to remove the item token is because if I remove the item token from my local storage, then anytime, if I refresh my page here, anytime I come back, the loader function is going to look for that token and not have it, and then not be able to let me see this page. Okay, so then I'm going to navigate to, we gotta go ahead and use our hook first. So const navigate is equal to use navigate. And then we should be able to just navigate to the /login page. Okay, and then let's add a fake, and then we gotta add our toast here, which we don't have to do a fake toast because we should have access to it at this level. So let's add a toast then. And we're gonna say success. And then we're going to say you have been logged out of your account. All right, and then we're going to say const toast is equal to use toast. All right, then we are going to add on click. We are going to do on, well, I'm not going to call this log out because there's going to be more things here. So let's just call it log out. Okay. All right. So Mickey Mouse, you were automatically logged out by my expiration. All right. Let's go to our profile page. Then let's click log out. Success. You've been logged out. Except this isn't a success message, so let's change this to success. All right, so let's log back in so we can test this again. And go to profile and log out. Success, you've been logged out of your account. Perfect. All right, we have a success toast for logging out, and we have an on-click function that redirects us to the login page. All right, so users can log out. All right, but this does leave in terms of the profile page, right? We need to figure out our toast messages. So I'm going to add a card to investigate, and I'm going to say move toast, move chakra provider, so I can have toasts on the router page. All right, I'm going to leave that to investigate for a little bit later. We also have to add the photos, but other than that, we are making a lot of headway on our user account creation. We are almost done. I think I might also, with my spare time, kind of flesh out the header so I can access my pages without having to retype in the URL. So stay tuned, and I will see you next time.